Hello. Let's talk about things J.D. Vance should be doing for the debate next week. Remember, 34% of Americans vote on fair and care, how you treat the least among us, starting with every voting bloc that Republicans lose. Blacks, Jews, Hispanics, single women, Catholics, students, and plenty more. The majority of the 50% of white non-evangelicals that Republicans lose. So you want to be talking a lot about these personal victims that have been caused by Kamala Harris. Remember that horrible saying that's so true? One person killed is a tragedy, a million killed is a statistic. You make those tragedies personal, if possible with videos, but you make them personal. The first thing I would love for J.D. Vance to mention, and I would also want him to understand that this debate really is against Kamala Harris. No one cares about Tim Walz. They're not voting for Walz. They'd be voting for Harris. The first thing to ask him is, what exactly or where exactly are teenage boys supposed to insert those tampons that you had installed in the men's bathroom or boys' bathroom in high schools? Where exactly in their body are they supposed to insert it? Please tell us, because we'd love to know. And if you're called a racist or a homophobe or a bigot, all you need to say to this and any other of these allegations from the left is calling people racist and Nazis and homophobe and Islamophobe, transphobe is what you mentally challenged pathological progressives do because you can't compete with facts or ideas. If you could, you would. Now answer the question, please. Just blow right through them. If they want to keep calling you racist or what have you, homophobe, LGBT phobe, well, you're doing a good job showing that you're pretty mentally challenged. Now go ahead and answer the question, please. You just blow right through leftists. They're nothing. They're smoke and mirrors. They're shuck and jive. They're dodge and weave. Don't ever get intimidated like most Republicans do. Next thing, after how many sexes there are, ask them, do you support a federal legislation to redistribute these migrants to the rich white communities of the Democratic Party leadership, the Learjet leftists who run the Democratic Party? How about social justice? Why not go ahead and redistribute these migrants permanently in the neighborhoods and front lawns of the Learjet leftists of the Democratic Party, their presidential class for the last half century, of people who've been total frauds, people who sit around spewing social justice and climate change and fairness, but their whole lives are about private jets, private mansions, private limos, and private estate compounds. That's why the Democratic Party leadership is so miserable. They know they're total frauds. You want to support federal legislation to go ahead and distribute the migrants there? Give it a nice social justice name, too. How about the Fairness and Social Justice Migrant Act? That would be perfect. You see, Democrats have gone ahead and used a majority of 51% to beat us over the head. No reason Democrats wouldn't be supporting something like that. Yeah, that's only fair. Obama doesn't need his 3 mansions by the water. Give up 2 of them and go ahead and get the migrants living there. The other thing, too, is if you're hit with the childless cat ladies comment, turn it back on the Democrats. No. What I really meant to say is the Democratic Party leadership and the feminists have turned poor women into childless cat ladies. Remember, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle from these angry leftists? Well, guess what? Now these women are too old to have kids. By next year, 45% of women between 25 and 45 are going to be childless and unmarried. Who's going to take care of them when they're older? These poor women, because they listen to these leftist feminists, they're going to be needing a home they're going to be needing a room in an in-law's basement like a fish needs water. There's going to be no one there to take care of them. They're victims. The left loves victimization. Fine, give it to them. These poor women are victims. No one's going to be there to take care of them when they're older. Hope they've got a relative or in-law's basement room to rent when they're older, because they're going to need it. We all become too old to take care of ourselves at some point. These poor women are just victims. Democrats love victimization, give it to them. If the 34 felonies nonsense about Donald Trump comes up, all you have to say is name one other person in American history ever convicted of such ridiculous charges. Nobody. And all by Kamala and Biden's totally corrupt judicial department. Game over. Want to talk felonies? Talk about the thousands of dead people who are now, because of Kamala's open border. 34% of Americans are not voting on social justice or on economics. They vote on how you treat the least among us. Those are the people who well, you know how right-wingers love to pretend they're patriots for doing nothing? People on the left want to pretend they're Mother Teresa for doing absolutely nothing. So what you're going to do is talk about all those dead women and children because of Kamala's open borders. Hey, I love Bill O'Reilly's idea. How about a moment of silence? Or even better yet, how about an apology to the family of, what was that woman's name who was Riley? Or what was her name? The woman who was murdered by those illegal alien immigrants? How about an apology to her family? Do you want to join me in an apology too, Governor Walz, to the family for leaving the borders open, Kamala's borders open, and killing that poor girl, allowing her to be murdered? Remember, one death is a tragedy and a million deaths is a statistic. I know it sucks, but just use it to our advantage. You know, nobody's even mentioned the fact that Kamala Harris has slept her way to the top. I don't know why. That's something that needs to be mentioned also. Maybe you don't feel comfortable doing it. I certainly understand that. Here's something else, too. Let's talk more about real deaths, too. Thousands dead in the Middle East because Kamala gave billions of dollars to the Ayatollahs, Kamala and Biden. And go after their base, too. Women hung in Iran for being rape victims, gays and LGBT people hung. You certainly don't care much about other human beings there. Go after their base. Separate them from their leaders. Always. Next thing to go after is don't even forget to leave out the Native Americans. Their reservations have been overrun by the cartels, the most weak and vulnerable among us. Remember, 34% of Americans vote on how you treat the least among us. Those are the people who want to think they're Mother Teresa. And this is how exactly you get to them. The most poor and vulnerable among us, Native Americans, have had their reservations decimated by the drug cartels. All because of Kamala Harris. If the January 6th nonsense is mentioned, well, again, that's something else to take down. Donald Trump specifically mentioned the people to go there peacefully and to protest. Most of the people there were bystanders. And tell me something, Governor Walz, tell us how 6 guys with handguns, which is all there was, is an insurrection. If it was an insurrection, where was their air support? Where was their reinforcements? Where was their simultaneous attacks around the country? Where were their reinforcements and supplies and cache of weapons? Nowhere, because it was just 6 idiots with handguns. More nonstop lies from the Democratic Party. Anyways, this is the best way to turn the tables on the Democrats. I specifically like the idea of supporting legislation. Call it the Fair and Social Justice Migration Immigrant Act, and move those immigrants onto the front lawns, set up tent cities on the front lawns and subdivisions of the Learjet leftists of the Democratic Party, their political class and non-political leadership. You watch this problem of immigrants overflowing America come to an end within a week. Good luck.